بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته, and welcome to another session of التعبير القرآني by Dr. Fadil Saleh Hassan Al-Ra'i. We are doing we stopped at page a little bit about, we started page 8, so we had finished page 7, which was a bit tricky. Alhamdulillah, we did that. And then so today we're going to continue off with what Dr. Fadel is saying. So again, just to give you a background of what is happening so far, he's trying to give evidence to his claims. So remember when he started the book, he introduced the fact that, you know, this Quran is miraculous, and every single letter, no, he said every single word, rather every single letter, rather every single haraka placed in the Quran is placed purposefully, meticulously, and with a meaning. Yeah, like everything is beautifully placed in the Quran and everything is interwoven. That was his argument. And now, after placing that argument, he also mentioned how it even bewildered the Arabs at that time, you know, and he gave the example of Abu Jahl and Al-Akhnas and Abu Sufyan. Like, even the worst of the worst who were fighting this Quran, they couldn't help themselves. They tried to listen to the Quran. So they were mesmerized by the Quran. And then he went on to give examples of previous scholars and predecessors who actually went ahead to use counts as evidence for this argument that the Quran is a miraculous book, and every single word and every single letter is beautifully placed, right? And so he goes on to talk about the numbers. Like if you compare Surah Yunus and Surah An-Naml, I think he compared here. And how the letters are repeated in those surahs. And then he went again to mention another evidence that it wasn't just about the letters when you count the letters. Also, if you look at the letters themselves, the huruf al-muqatta'a, the letters themselves, there are actually 14 of them, and these 14 are comprised in all these different categories. So we talked about these different categories. The tajweed people understand these categories better. And so you have these 14 letters, huruf al-muqatta'a, they make up half of all these categories. We mentioned that last time. And then he went ahead and it was like he provided another evidence. And he said, وَلَيْسَ هَذَا كُلَّ شَيْءٍ في الإحصاء. And this is not everything as far as counts is concerned. So he talked about counts. Now he's giving more evidence in terms of counts. And he says, بل هناك شيء آخر ربما وربما أشياء. In fact, there is something else in, or perhaps even a couple of things. Yeah. And here he's going now to give the different counts that are there that are just remarkable. Okay. So whoever wants to participate, now we're going to look at the different counts in the Quran and the different evidences that he's giving to the miraculous nature of the Quran and the precision and the beauty of the Quran. So that's what we're going to look at today. I haven't confirmed this stuff. We are going to cover, he's going to mention a lot of facts, but I haven't confirmed these facts. So I don't know if this is actually true. We're just going to take his word for it. Okay. So that's just a disclaimer right there. Okay, let's see. So we have Fawzia and Sultana. So we'll start with Fawzia. Fawzia, because this text is a bit so difficult. Let's see how much you can read. I'm trying to look at it to where. Maybe you can read up to here, and then Sultana can read the next part.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لقد تبين أنه لم توضع الألفاظ أبسا.
I'm going to say توضع الألفاظ
أبسا ولا من غير حساب. بل هي موضوعة وضعا دقيقا بحساب رفيق رفيق.
Beautiful. Okay.
It has already become clear that the words were not placed unnecessarily, nor without calculation. Rather, rather they were placed. No, rather it is a topic that is placed carefully and precisely.
Right. Are we going to say placement here?
That is so. Okay. Rather, it is a placement. It is a placement that is placed carefully and precisely.
Exactly. Beautiful. Okay, so let's try and figure this out. What's happening in the i'rab of this part? Do you want to try?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have the right words. So I forgot what laqab is called, but it's not.
You can say already. You can use already.
I know it means already, and because it's it has already become clear is the meaning of laqab tabayyin. أنه is harf nasab with my voice is fake. Can you hear me?
It's a bit the sound is a bit low. So if you can increase the volume a little bit.
Sure. Is this better?
Could you say that again?
Is this better?
Yes, that's a bit better, yes.
Not yet. And tabayyana is we did لقد تبين. أنه is harf nasab who is اسمه harf nasab. Lam is harf jazma. So the is jumla fi'liya, and it's jazm because of harf nasab lam. Al-fadu is, and it's also not malum.
Majhul, yes, beautiful.
Majhul. And so al-fadu is the naib al-fa'il of tawba, and absan is the maf'ul mutlaq, I would say, because it's explaining how. Wala is wa is harf ataf, la is what called nafi. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it
Nafi.
Is it nafi or is nafi? Okay.
Nafi.
Min is harf jar. Ghairi is harf is majrur of min, and then ghairi is would it be it's a second mudaf.
Yes.
So hisabin is majrur of ghairi.
Yes.
Should I go on? So this entire sentence was failed, say, jumla failure. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go on. Bal. Unless you can't hear me now.
Hear me?
Now you're breaking. Yeah. Could you say again?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Bal is harf ataf.
Yes.
And now we start with jumla ismiya. is mubtada. And mawzu'atun is khabar. And I would like to say that wad'an and daqiqan is sifa of mawzu'at, because it's carefully and precisely placement, that is carefully and precisely placed.
Okay. Yes.
And then bihisabin, B is harf jar, hisabin is majroor. And then I'm not so sure about daqiqan. I'm not sure about those two.
So hisabin, daqiqin. What do you think?
Oh, so we could do sifa.
Yes.
So daqiqin would be sifa of hisabin.
Yes.
So a precise measure.
Exactly. Okay. So now let's look at let's go through it again and just fix maybe one or two things. So لقد تبين أنه لم توضع الألفاظ. It has become evident, it has become clear that it did not place or sorry, أنه the fact of the matter is لم توضع الألفاظ, the letters were not placed عبثا. Again, so here عبثا it describes how. So عبثا here would be the hal. How were they placed? They weren't placed unnecessarily. Okay, so عبثا would be the hal. ولا من غير حساب. Again, like you just said, واو is حرف عطف, لا is حرف نفي, so whatever, it's negating this sentence. لا من غير حساب, I think you did that nicely. حرف جار, special مضاف, and then مضاف إليه. بل حرف عطف, again you did that nicely. بل هي موضوعة, so you said here is the مبتدا, موضوعة is the خبر. Yeah, that's fine. Then موضوعة وضعا, I think here وضعا would be the مفعول مطلق of موضوع. So it would be because وضع is the same jidr is being repeated, and here موضوع I think is acting like a فعل, because we know اسم مفعول and اسم فاعل can also act as a فعل, and now it's taking a مفعول مطلق. So this موضوع placement, the thing that is placed. So وضع is to place something. The مفعول به would be the thing that is placed, which is, you could say placement or the placing. I don't know how else you could translate this, but placement I think works fine because it's acting in the meaning of a masdar here. So, but rather it is a placement, is a precise placement, because when you have a maf'ul mutlaq, and especially in this category, it adds emphasis to the fi'l. So like if I say wada'a wada'an, I'm emphasizing the fi'l of placing. So I won't translate as placed, you can't translate it directly. You have to use, like you can say precisely placed or meticulously placed or accurately placed, things like that, just to add the emphasis of that part. And then of course daqiqan, again adding more emphasis, because daqiqan is a sifa to wada'an. Okay, so wada'an daqiqan, like precise. Again, daqiqan means precise, so like very precisely. So it's a lot of emphasis that he's putting here. Okay, and you see I think we figured that out. Yeah, so موضوعة وضعا دقيقا بحساب, again emphasizing how meticulously, beautifully, precisely, accurately every word has been placed. So he said بحساب دقيق دقيق, in a very calculated, measured, precise way. Again, daqiqin is a sifa to hisabin, but what's the other daqiq? Why do you have two daqiqs? This is the case where you have, I think we talked about it in tawkid. When the word repeats, it could be a tawkid, or in some cases it could be a hal. Let me just, I don't remember exactly in what cases it's a hal. No, so where would it go? So maybe that's something I need to Let me just confirm that. We did that. What did we do? Tawkid.
Tamiz.
We did it at Tamiz? I think we did it at Tawkid.
I was asking, is it Tamiz or Tawkid?
Oh no, it's not Tamiz.
Mumayyiz, Tamiz, repetition.
No,
No,
it's
not.
either
Okay.
going to be Tawkid or it's going to be a hal. Oh, let me see here.
Like how kullu, all that, it is in that way, sister? Repetition of that?
Yeah, so you see, for example, if I
Kullu
said you
ba'du.
can, when a word is repeated, it could be a harf, it could be a fi'al, it could be an ism. When a word is repeated, it's just to add emphasis. For example, you could have, this is called a tawkid al-lafzi. We did this, I think, a while back, but it was a new concept, so most probably we've forgotten about it. And then, yeah, so there's these other examples where it's actually considered hal. So, for example, ذاكرت الدرس ورقة ورقة. ورقة ورقة would be a hal because it's describing how I did it. Yeah, how did I study? Page by page. Or صفا صفا in the Quran it comes وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا, and your Lord and the angels will come rows of row after row, like there will be so many row after row. So just not every repetition is going to be a tawkid. Some repetition is going to be a hal depending on what it is doing. Like in this case, it is describing how the situation, how the verb is applied. Okay. But if you just say رأيت محمدا محمدا, I saw Muhammad, like it was Muhammad that I saw. Or you can even emphasize the fi'l. You can say جاء Khalid, he came Khalid. Or you can say لا أكذب. You can even emphasize a harf, like by repeating the harf. لا أكذب. No, I'm not lying. So that's called tawkid al-lafzi. When you repeat the same letter. There's another one, tawkid al-ma'nawi, and these are very common ones, the ones that we are familiar with. You know, nafs, ayn, kull, jami'. These are the tawkids that we are familiar with. Yeah. And if you want a revision of this topic, I think you can find the video on one of my videos in my channel. I don't remember which one, but yeah, under tawkid, should be under tawkid, you'll find this stuff. So that's just a revision of that concept, and let's see how it applies here. Yes,
may you please offer me some clarification just to enhance my knowledge. Daqiqan, like this is jar, right? And so if you repeat the word, first question is, does the word has to follow the same status? And the second thing is, can hal be in a majrur status also?
No, hal cannot.
So
hal is always nasab.
Okay, so it is daqiqin. So how can daqiq be a hamil of daqiq?
Now I'm saying in this case, it's tawkid because it's emphasizing. That's why we're saying bihisabin daqiqin. But there's a certain situation where you can have the words repeated and it's actually a hal and not a tawkid, because it is describing the situation, how it will happen, and it's not just adding emphasis. But here it's adding more emphasis.
And sorry for interrupting you. And for such a situation, for both the words have to be in nasab, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah. Like safan, like we saw in the examples I just mentioned. Yeah, it's going to be in nasab status. But the confusion comes in when the tawkid is also in nasab, and now people don't know, like, is it a tawkid or is it a hal? So now you have to ask yourself, is it describing a situation or is it adding emphasis? That's where the confusion between the two come in.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khair, may Allah bless you. Okay, and one thing more, can't we take the daqiqan, also the first one, the daqiqan, the nasb one, as the hal of ma'du, like the placement? How is the placement happening? It's happening delicately. So is there a possibility to consider this as a hal of ma'du also?
No, because mawdu' is nakira. It's not ma'rifa. If it was ma'rifa, then absolutely, without a doubt. But because it's nakira, it can be a sifa. Yeah. But then you will take this as sifa 1 and then this as sifa 2. That's a possibility, yes.
If it is a sifa, why it is mansoob? Why it is mansoob? It should be marfu'.
Oh, yeah. Because it's because this is a maf'ul mutlaq, and it's assumed that there's it's a maf'ul mutlaq, this wad'an, and that's why I was just saying that this daqiqan is a sifa to this one. If you look at this as sifa 1 and this as sifa 2, then of course the grammar doesn't make sense. But if you take this as a maf'ul mutlaq, then you understand why it's nasab, and then this daqiqan is a sifa to this maf'ul mutlaq. Now it makes sense grammatically.
Okay, got it. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah, go.
Maf'ul mutlaq also acts as a tawqeed, na sister? That's the reason it is being brought up, like?
Yes, it's also another just tawqeed in this case. So you see there's so much emphasis in what he's saying here, because he's mentioning, just by mentioning this maf'ul mutlaq, that's already one emphasis. And then daqiqan, also this word, the sifa to this one, is adding another emphasis. And then this again, this jar majrur muta'alliq here is another emphasis, because he's explaining again bihisabin, and then you have daqiqin. Like there's so much emphasis in how he's like, it's so amazing, the Quran. That's what he's trying to say. Like, it's so amazing. Like I can't even use enough emphasis to just tell you how precise, how accurate, how measured, how beautiful the arrangement, the placement, the organization of the Quran is. That's what he's trying to say. There are no words to describe the order. Honestly, it boggles the mind. I mean, how many people have been trying to do the order of the Quran, and you're stumped. Wallahi, you're stumped. Like, just one haraka, like putting a fatha somewhere, makes all the difference. A fatha or a kasra, or even just like we saw last week when we were doing Surah Al-Qamar, just omitting, instead of we know the word is ad-da'i, right? Because it's ism manqus, it's supposed to be ad-da'i with a ya. Just omitting this ya makes a difference. This is the Quran, guys. It is so precise, so measured, so articulate, so, like, words can't even describe it, honestly. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Okay,
so
Sister
we can assume, sister, so
sorry, okay. Please go ahead.
The maf'ul mutlaq gets the first place in tawqeed, then second will be the sifa for that, then third will be the jar majroor way, in this way.
Yeah.
Is it in that, na sister?
Yes, and always tawqeed comes at the end of a sentence. When you've mentioned everything, tawqeed comes at the end. That's normally the order of things. Yeah.
Out of that, maf'ul mutlaq takes first place. Repetition of this takes second place.
Yeah,
Jar
most of the
majroor
time.
with the repetition.
Yeah, most of the time the maf'ul mutlaq will come before the tawqeed. Most of the time, yeah. I don't know if there's a situation where it's reversed. Maybe there'll be a balagha reason for that. I don't know. But you have, the order is normally fi'l, fa'il, maf'ul, muta'alliq, and then you have these other things now. Because maf'ul mutlaq is a type of a maf'ul. So maf'ul will come before other things. Yeah. Samia?
Okay, Sister Ilham, may I ask a question? Yeah, Jazakallah khair. Bihisabin daqiqan is mutalik to what?
To mawdu', because remember, this mawdu' is acting like a fi'al.
Okay, got it. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
Any other questions? All right. Let's go on.
It's muta'alliq bil khabar.
Yes. متعلق بالخبر, which is موضوع.
Right.
This is, yeah.
Should I read further?
Yes, go on.
لقد تبين أن الدنيا تكررت في القرآن الكريم بقدر الآخرة فقد تكرر كل منهما 115 مرة.
Beautiful.
And it has already become clear that the word dunya is repeated in the Quran, in the Noble Quran, as many times as the word akhirah, which has been, and each of them has been repeated 115 times.
Yes.
So
you want to
should I
go on?
I'll try.
Yes.
Okay, I'll try.
Yeah.
Anna is harf nasab, and the dunya would be the ism of Anna, and تكررت. I've forgotten what the other word is. Khabar of Anna.
Yes. Yeah,
But it's,
khabar of Anna.
but it's a jumla failure in itself.
Yes.
And then fil Qurani Kareem would be the mutaliq to would it be the mutaliq to the jumla ismiya?
No, it's going to be to takarrarat. So this
yes,
is
yes.
one bucket.
Yes.
No, not up to there, but up to here. Or you can even look at the whole thing, actually.
So
yeah, it's
from
possible. You can either stop here, or you can even go all the way to the end and say that's one continuous thing, depending on how you look at this fact.
I don't think this bias is for a new sentence, because the sentence is connected. So I would think it's the whole bucket then.
Yeah, that's also fine. Yeah.
Okay. But inside that, the khabar of inna, then we've got the first jumla failure, which is takarrarat fil Quran Kareem biqadril akhiratu, and then the second jumla failure will start after faqad, which will be from takarrara kullun minhuma all the way to maratan.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they're joined, so they're the second one is matuf on the first using the faqad. Can we say that?
Yes, you can do that. You can say this takarrara is ma'tuf to this takarrara. You can do that. And this is the harf atuf fa. If you look at this fa as harf atuf, you could say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I carry on?
Yeah, unless there's any question. I think that was pretty straightforward. There's not really, maybe just one reminder that is, I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with it, but it's just a reminder in case somebody forgot. When you have quotation, you remember Ustad said whatever is in the quotation is protected in the by the quotation marks. So you can either do, there are two options, there are two ways of looking at it. So you can either protect it, so anna dunya, and you say that this dunya will be rafa because it's ism alam, and you know there's nothing to it, so you can just say this is rafa fi mahalli rafa because it's naqis manqus. Or you can actually make it mansub because of anna, because it's the ism of anna. So those are two ways in which you can look at it. Or for example, this akhirah, we can say biqadri al-akhirah too, because it's protected by the quotes. Or you can take it as a mudaf ilayh and say biqadri, especially if you're reading and you're joining, you will observe the nahu rules. So if I say biqadri al-akhirati, I won't say biqadri al-akhiratu, because I'm joining. But if I break and I say fil Qur'an al-Karim biqadri, and then I say al-akhirah, then I'm allowed to say al-akhiratu. So that's just maybe a slight reminder on that. Unless there are any other questions.
I just forgot one thing. Can you help me refresh that? If you have the time, if you don't have the time, it's okay. Kullun minhuma. I am a little confused. Is minhuma is it taken as a sifa or kullun, or is it acting as dakhilay? I forgot about this kullun concept.
I think منهما here would be jar majroor of كل.
Yeah.
So كل منهما, this
مضاف إليه.
كل, yeah.
Okay.
Not a مضاف إليه, but كل would be the مبتدا, I think.
No.
Yeah. And then منهما would be the jar majroor.
No,
And then
what's
of
the
course,
relation of منهما and كل? Is it
yeah.
صفة موصول?
Yes, actually. That could be, yes. This could be the sifa. Yeah, this could be the sifa of كل. Yeah.
Okay.
And كل
So
منهما
kullun
is
will
the
be
file.
the file system
File
for
of
takarrara file.
Yes. Yes.
Takarrara. So there is muzafile which is missing for kullu, hence it is been with tanween, right? Kullun.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't have a مضاف إليه.
If we were going to translate this literally, would it be okay to say each one of both of them? Or each of both?
Yeah, that would be the most literal translation. Yeah. Yeah. Each of both of them. Yeah. That's the meaning anyway. Any other questions on that? Maybe we can have, because I'm looking at the time also. Maybe Roxana can no, sorry, Roxana. Sultana.
Ji.
You can maybe read the next part as well, just because of time.
وأن الملائكة تكررت بقدر الشياطين فقد شياطين yeah, because of بقدر الشياطين الشياطين
yeah
بقدر الشياطين sister مضاف
yes
can be
yes
بقدر الشياطين فقد تكرر كل منهما مرة 88
مرة 88 مرة.
Okay.
88
times. وأن so أن is مشبه بالفعل. الملائكة is اسم أن تكررت بقدر الشياطين فقد تكرر كل منهما مرة. So these all will be the خبر إن. So in تكررت الملائكة is the मतलब it's going back to الملائكة. Hence the reason it's feminine. بقدر شياطين is jar majrur, which is متعلق بالفعل تكررت. Then فقد is fa is حرف عطف. Then قد is حرف تحقيق. Then تكرر is فعل. Then كل مضاف with its مضاف إليه, it forms the file for تكرر. منهما is jar majrur, which is متعلق to فعل تكرر. مرة is the what to say this for this numbering, sister?
Yeah.
Again, it is متعلق to تكرر.
Yes.
So إن مشبه بالفعل along with اسم and the whole bucket with the خبر forms جملة اسمية خبرية.
Yeah, and again, it's these are pretty straightforward sentences. Basically, he's just going to give statistics. Initially, he said dunya, the word ad-dunya. So understanding that like this, the word ad-dunya has been mentioned in the Quran to the same extent as the word al-akhirah. Okay, so you have if ad-dunya and anyway, فقد تقرر كل منهما, both of them have been mentioned 115 times. So you have 115 times for dunya, 115 times for akhirah. Yeah, and he's saying malaika, the word malaika has repeated to the same extent as the word shayateen, and both of them have repeated 88 times. Okay,
88 times. G.
Go on.
وإن الموت
أن
ومشتقى وأن الموت يشتقي مشتقاته
مشتقة
مشتقاته because this مشتقاته
so
because
it's
it's أطفال موتنا sister.
So it's مسلمات مسلمات. So Anna made this one nasab, and this is connected to this one. So this is also nasab.
Okay.
And it's جمع مؤنث سالم.
مشتقاته.
So like it's supposed to be مشتقات مشتقات مشتقات.
Okay. J. Feminine because of feminine thing. Atun. Okay.
Yes. Atun atin atin.
J. Atin atin. Okay. مشتقاته. مشتقاته. تكرر بقدر الحياة فقد تكرر كل منهما 140 times.
Yes. 145.
145 times. مرتين. So indeed, the death. So mushtaqat is sister?
Derivatives.
The derivatives. Okay, it's been repeated with the haya, that is life. It is 145. The total of each of them been discussed 145 times.
Yes. Okay,
so the derivative means which is again saying something about mouth. It is in that way, sister. Instead of mouth, the word which has been used, is it in that way?
You know how we say words that are sarfifiable, we call them mushtaq? They're derived.
Yeah.
So ishtaqqa, yashtaqu. So mushtaq is a derived word. So mushtaqat, these are the words that are derived from those root letters. So mata, yamutu, mautan, mita, all these different derivatives of the word maut.
Okay. Got it. So with the same jidr, what all has been repeated, it's one. Okay. 145.
Exactly.
G.
Yes, Sister Alam, I have a question, sorry. When you talk derivatives, do we include the subfamilies also as derivatives or just the variation of nouns?
I'm not so sure because mushtaqat, all the derivatives, maybe here they're just talking about nouns. I'm not so sure, honestly. Because in sarf terms, if you say mushtaqat, then probably you're looking about the whole sarf. Whatever can be derived from that word. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe somebody needs to check this.
Yeah, because in the previous thing, it is pretty straightforward, like dunya and akhirah and malaika and shayateen. There is no concept of evolution or changes in the transformation of the root word, except in this moth thing,
Yeah. So some of these things, by the way, they're trying to exaggerate. Some of them are not accurate. I think Ustad mentioned it, that he tried to check one of these two things and he found maybe some of them are not exactly like he said. So, sometimes when you find a connection and you just want to hold on to it and you get excited by it and you think that's it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we do that. So I don't know what he means by this.
Okay.
Yeah. Variations of masdar. Okay, beautiful. So Fawzia is saying that when we read this text, Ustad said it's variations of masdar. Okay. So maut and the variations of the masdar of maut. I don't know what variations of the masdar are. I'm not familiar with them, but yeah, that would make sense actually.
Yeah, maybe what she's trying to say is that the state of death, no matter how it is
maybe
interpreted, put.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great.
وهل الموت إلا للأحياء.
Beautiful.
So is isn't the life is death only for the living? وهل الموت إلا للأحياء is death only for the living? It is
You could say.
Hassan.
So with this illa, we can either translate it as except, or you can translate it as not. So is death not for the living, or is death except for the living? In other words, he's saying death is for the living. You know, when you have double negatives, or when you have like a negative in a question form, you're actually affirming the positive. So if you say, and especially when you have pairs, is night not for the day? In other words, I'm saying night is for the day. So death is for the living. You can't have death for any other thing. It's for the living. You can't have death for the dead. The dead don't die. They're already dead. Yeah. So death is for the living.
For the living. Okay. Yeah. So this nullifies is here. Nasta hallanilla. If you remove, so we can just mouth lillahi. Is it in
yes. Yes. So if you want to look at the grammar of this, you remove the question, you remove the illa, and you just have al-mawtu lil-ahya'i. That would be mubtada muta'alliq. That would be the grammar. It's like when you have even we do this when you have ma and nafiya, ma illa structure in illa, you get rid of the template and then you do the grammar the way it is. Okay.
وأن الصيف والهر. So is it harru?
So anna?
Harru?
Anna? What will anna do?
وأن الصيف والهر. So nasab, it gives والهر تكرر. This is tasniya. تكرر. تكرر بقدر لفظ الشتاء.
Yes.
لفظ الشتاء this is cold.
برد.
برد. Okay.
Yeah.
والبرد.
Oh, you can والبرد.
والبرد. فقد تكرر.
والبرد because now it's going to be شتاء.
عطفاً شتاء. والبرد. Okay. والبرد. فقد تكرر كل منهما خمس مرات.
تكرر
كل منهما
تكرر
كل منهما 5 مرات.
مرة.
should be مفعول. مرة. 5 مرات. وأن الصيف, and indeed صيف is hot. It's
so summer
and heat. No, sister, summer and heat were repeated بقدر لفظ as often as winter and cold. الشتاء كلهما, each of which was repeated 5 times.
Yes. So that's what he's saying. He's saying like winter and summer have been repeated 5 times, and al-har wal-barad have been repeated 5 times. I don't know. Again, I haven't checked these facts. So that's what he's saying.
وأن لفظ سيئات.
Yes.
أن لفظ السيئات. لفظ السيئات what was it? مشتقاتها.
Yes.
مشتقاتها تكرر بقدر لفظ الصالحات. صالحات ومشتقاتها لفظ صالحة. فقد تكرر كل منهما 167 times.
Yes.
So that is the word bad deeds and its derivatives takarara are being repeated as often the word of good deeds, salihat, and its derivatives to the extent of 168 times,
Yes.
each of which has been repeated 167. Sorry, 167
times.
yes.
Beautiful.
Okay. وأن لفظ الكفر كفر أن لفظ الكفر أوكي تكرر بقدر لفظ الإيمان فقد تكرر كل منهما 17 times.
Exactly.
وأن لفظ الكفر, that is the word inkar, that is rejection, and its derivative has been
not the derivatives. Here is just the word
okay.
kufr. Yeah.
Denial has been repeated along with the iman is to submission, sister.
You can say believe and disbelieve. So disbelieve al-kufr or iman, believe.
Okay. The word disbelieve and the word believe have been repeated each of it by 17 times.
Yes.
Each one of them has been repeated 17 times.
Exactly. Now we didn't go through the grammatical analysis because it's repetitive. It's the same sentence over and over again. So the fact that we did the first time, I think it clarifies, the grammar for it, unless there's any so maybe there's one thing I'm going to point out. So the first part we said أن الموت ومشتقاته, and we said this mushtaqat is nasab because al-mauta is nasab. Okay, then you come here and you have وأن لفظ السيئات ومشتقاتها. It's both سيئات, it's both atin and atin, but here it is actually majroor. So in the first case it was mansub, both of them. So because al-maut is mansub, so al-mushtaqat will also be mansub. But here, because this is mudaf ilay, lafza as-sayyiati, so this is majroor, and mushtaqati is also majroor. So that would be like the only difference to note there. But majority of whatever is happening here is more or less the same. It's a repeated kind of grammatical analysis. Yeah. So I think that this part is a bit clearer. Yeah. Any other questions?
Is it وأن اللفظ سيئاتي, yes, سيئاتي would be majroor, but don't you think mushtaqati will be mansub?
No, because sorry, lafz السيئات. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Mansub, right?
Yes, because this is lafza. Yeah. So yeah, because this is one word and then this is ma'tuf to this one word. Yeah. Yes, you're right. Yeah. Same as this case here. Of course, but in this case it is actually biqadri lafzi. So in this case mushtaqat here is also majroor. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. I hope that's clear. Okay. So we're just gonna we're just gonna, because we have maybe 5 minutes, I'm just gonna mention like what he is trying to say, although I know it's clear and you probably understood, but just in case, just for the flow of the book, so that we understand what this author is trying to say, because he's mentioning a bunch of very interesting, intriguing stuff in his evidence to prove that the Quran is just beautifully, meticulously, perfectly, precisely written, So he's giving a couple of facts here that, again, I haven't checked, so I'm not sure whether this is true or not. But he's saying the dunya is repeated as many times as the akhirah, 115 times. Angels are repeated as many times as the devils, 88 times. Death and its derivatives have been repeated as many times as life, 145 times. And winter and summer repeated 5 times each. And sayyi'at, the word sayyi'at, not evil, but not the concept of evil, but the word sayyi'at, and its derivatives have been repeated as many times as the word salihat, good or good deeds. So bad deeds and good deeds have been repeated each 167 times. The word kufr and the word iman have both been repeated. 70 times. The point here being, whether this is accurate or not, the point being is that this is no ordinary book. Nobody writes a book counting the number of words that they've used in that entire book. You know, like you would have to actually finish the entire book and then start counting and then deleting some words and making sure that this word matches with the number of this word because they're opposite. Like it's impossible. It's humanly impossible. It's unimaginable. Even if you just find like 5 of these things are true, it's unimaginable. It's extremely impossible to write something like this. So that's the argument that he's trying to place. And of course, he's going to go on. He's not done. He's going to give more evidences to this. So you can see all this. He's going to go on. So even if we just prove 5 of this, or even 2, or even 1, like it's impossible for a human being to do something like this. Utterly impossible. So that's the point that Dr. Fadil is trying to present here. Hafidahullah. May Allah protect him and accept from him this amazing work. And with that, we're going to end there. Alhamdulillah, we finished page 8. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll start page 9. If there are any questions, clarifications, comments, corrections, whatever, I'm going to open the floor now.
Sister, I read somewhere that man is mentioned 24 times and women 24 times, and this is matching with the chromosomes. And the bee has 16 chromosomes, and it is the 16th in the 16th chapter.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Again, who writes like that? Like, you know, you can just go into a spiral of discovery when it comes to this numbers thing. Personally, I don't get caught up in this numbers business. I don't find it like so convincing. I mean, there are people who would be mesmerized by this stuff. It is mesmerizing, honestly, when you realize that there are 24 chromosomes in the DNA and it's mentioned 24 times. I mean, it could be a coincidence, or is it? Maybe it's not a coincidence. I mean, it's mind-blowing stuff. So yeah, you can discover so much. You can go into it's crazy. It's crazy how much the numbers thing. But also just to be careful, sometimes we get caught up. Sometimes we get caught up in this numbers business. Personally, I don't like to focus. Even if you look at the way I do my explanations of the surahs, I don't really focus on the numbers thing. I may mention it here or there, but I don't focus my understanding of the Quran from the numbers perspective and the scientific perspective, if you will, because we can get lost in that and we forget what Allah is trying to tell us. Sometimes the message is right there in front of us and we get lost in the details. You know, there's a famous saying, don't focus on a tree and lose the entire forest. Probably paraphrasing that, but you can even Google it. Like, you focus so much, you go so close into one tree and you just look at one tree and you forget to observe the entire forest. So it's a balancing act. And Ustad talks about this micro world of the Quran and then the macro world of the Quran. And you have to balance between the both. You have to go deep in, and then you have to come out and just look at the whole picture at the end of the day. So that's a beautiful observation. Thank you for bringing that up. There's a lot more, I'm sure.
And one thing for, you know, whatever knowledge that we gain through science or something, it is not ultimate knowledge, because it's evolution is always there. New discoveries are always there. So if you say, you know, we have 24 chromosomes, that's not the ultimate reality. Maybe in the future, we'll find there is not 24, there are rather 25 or 25.5. So it's like, you know, matching a divine reality to an incomplete knowledge. I think this theory should be discouraged. But as far as these wordings are concerned, you know, like you can see clearly that insan and heaven and death and life, you can see this is a clearly obvious thing. But, you know, I do agree with you, by making a deliberate attempt to come out with these things, especially tying the divine reality to the knowledge, we can always become redundant and incomplete in future. I think this practice should be discouraged.
Yeah, I agree. Like science is not, like you said, it's not exact, it's not factual, it's not set in stone. The Quran is the ultimate word. It's set in stone. Like nothing can change or challenge the Quran. But science,
Yeah.
I mean, we've had so many theories that have been debunked. We've had so many, like it keeps changing, like you said. So yeah, I agree. Very good point.
Yeah.
there
And
as
it
well.
also reminds us, you know, how little we know, how
Oh,
little
right.
we know that all these things have been existent much before we even discovered chromosomes. Okay, let's take it as an example. So how little we know and how much treasure is there, which has still not yet been discovered.
Right. Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah.
The,
It
the
humbles you out.
knowledge, yeah, the knowledge of Allah is humbling, completely humbling. You feel insignificant. Wallahi, it's true.
It's like, for example, we studied there were number of planets. When we studied were different count. When we made our kids study, like Pluto has been removed from it.
I know. Yeah, true. Science keeps changing.
Science.
At one time, atom was the smallest indivisible particle.
Yes.
Now
Now it's not.
No,
No,
it's
it's
not.
not.
We finally divided it.
Yeah.
Subhanallah. And even in future, who knows? Whatever we found, the electrons and the neutrons and I don't know, the micro, whatever, maybe they'll be divided further and we'll find an even smaller thing.
Of course. An entire universe will be inside
Found.
a tiny proton. I'm sure there's a whole universe inside it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Subhanallah. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the discovery goes on and on. But I think the biggest takeaway is that it should ultimately humble you out.
Right.
Absolutely.
That is the takeaway. It should humble you out.
Absolutely.
I mean, it should not elevate your status as being the know-all attitude. Rather, it should go the other way around.
Right. Wallahi, that's true. That's the message at the end of the day. You know, to realize who Allah is. Again, He's saying, I will show you my signs in the universe and in yourselves until it becomes clear to you that it is the truth. Subhanallah. And everywhere you look, you would see a sign of Allah. You look at inside your body, you're going to find a sign of so many signs of Allah. You look at whatever you look at, so many signs pointing to Allah. Yeah.
Bishop, without doubt.
You know the image that comes to my mind? You know, Japan, I think, or Korea I think Japan. It's one of those countries that has a lot of neon signs everywhere. Like at night, it's just lit up. Neon signs everywhere. I imagine we live in a world where there are so many bold signs, neon signs, like so bright, so bold. They're pointing, like each sign is pointing Allah, 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 like everywhere it's pointing. But we human beings are just going back by our business, like we're not noticing the signs. Like it's so crazy when you think about it. There's so many signs everywhere, but we're not seeing them. Somehow we're not seeing the signs. Subhanallah, may Allah open our eyes, our basira, not just the eyes of the physical eyes, but the insight to actually see all the signs.
Ameen.
You know what surprises? You know what surprises me most? That the areas where there is the highest scientific advancements, they find it they are the most reluctant people to accept Islam. I just can't get away from this fact. You know, you have seen so much, you have discovered so much, and still you find it very difficult. And, you know, you will find them accepting that lots of things are there stated scientifically in the Quran, but they still don't believe in the Quran. What? What's going on?
Really sad.
Just can't get through this.
Yeah.
It's the
arrogance. Yeah, that's it. The arrogance. They're completely blind. They won't accept. I mean, Surah Al-Qamar, we just discussed. I mean, some of the disbelievers were shown the splitting of the moon. They saw a moon split in half. And they still disbelieved. Subhanallah. Like, you can't get any more arrogant than that. You've already seen a miracle. And yet you refuse.
Sister Ilham, when did you do Surah Qamar?
Sorry?
Which group did you do Surah Qamar?
I actually don't have a specific group for Quran. I just normally post in 3 different groups that I have, because I thought creating another group It's just too much. Oh, I didn't even stop the recording, by the way, guys. We've just been going on and on.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. People will get extra feedback from us. I don't know. It's information that is good. We'll be discussing good information. So yeah, I don't have a particular group for that. I normally post. Sometimes I post in this group, not always, sometimes, especially when I'm doing the explanation, not the grammar. So I have two parts. Maybe this will be beneficial for everybody. The first week, we do the Nahu and Sarf analysis of the ayat. And then the next week, we look at the explanation of those particular ayat and we go into slightly details after watching Ustaz's lectures. Like, you watch on your own time, I watch.
Fridays and Saturdays, sister?
That one happens on Sundays at... you're from India or Pakistan?
Yes, India.
So that's going to be 1:30, I think. Because in Pakistan, it's
1:30. 1:30.
1:30 India.
And this is Surah Baqarah. You are doing Surah Baqarah?
No, I'm not doing Surah Baqarah.
Okay.
I did that on my own a long time ago, but because it's a very long one, it's a very high commitment type of thing. We did Surah Taghabun. That was our first surah we did. Now we are doing Surah Al-Qamar.
Okay.
I can share the details after this, and maybe even stop this recording. And if you guys want us to discuss further, I can have some few more minutes, inshallah. So let me stop this recording. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.